Thursday, July 24th, the Seattle Chamber Music Summerfest live streams top musicians playing two pieces by Czech masters, Martinu and Smetana, and two pieces by composers who lost their hearing, Smetana and Beethoven. Interesting how that happens. This will be at their usual time, 7:30 in the evening on the West Coast, 10:30 on the East Coast, 4:30 in the morning in Europe, and a lovely half past noon down under in Australia. If you have friends who are in Australia and are not following us, let them know about this. They might be interested. Anyway, the first piece is by Martinu. It's called Three Madrigals for Violin and Viola. And let me give you a specific photo of the players in that one: Alexander Kerr and Meredith Kufchak. Interesting because they may have been rehearsing this in advance. They're both with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. They were both in a quartet in the Tuesday live stream. There's a lot of mixing and matching going on. They have these guest artists come in and they spend a period of 6 weeks at the festival, mentoring younger artists and doing master classes and this sort of thing. So Kerr is concert master with the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. Meredith Kufchak on the viola is the principal viola in the Dallas Symphony Orchestra. Kerr has been with Seattle Chamber since 2016, and Kufchak is relatively new. She first came to the festival last summer. So this piece by Bohuslav Martinu, considered, the predecessor of the great Czech composers who would follow after him, didn't spend a lot of time in Czechoslovakia. He lived in Paris for like 17 years, from 1923 to 1940, which is not when he wrote this piece. And then when the Nazis moved into Paris, he went to the U.S. He was very well received. Everybody loved his compositions. He was teaching at the top places. Your top symphonies in Boston, Cleveland, Philadelphia were premiering his new works and everything. And then in 1946 or so, he was at Tanglewood, where he'd been invited by Koussevitzky. He was like the cream of the crop. And he fell off a balcony and it almost killed him. I mean, he was seriously damaged. And while he was recovering, he heard the Fuchs brother-sister duo playing Mozart's duos for violin and viola, and he said, "Oh, okay, I'll write that." So that he wrote this Three Madrigals for violin and viola, and they premiered it right away in December. He finished it in December 1947. December 22nd, they premiered it. So, and why madrigals? Well, he liked English madrigals, but it doesn't sound like the English madrigals. It's just what he liked. So you get two very experienced musicians who know each other well playing this piece, and I'd be surprised if they waited until they were there in Seattle to prepare this piece. I mean, they're both together with the Dallas Symphony all the time. I assume that they worked on it before they came here and might even have said, "Hey, we have this piece we'd love to do." Let's move on to the second piece that they're doing on Thursday. It's Smetana's String Quartet No. 1 in E minor, he entitled it From My Life. And the musicians are Noah Geller, who's concert master with the Seattle Symphony Orchestra. And he performs, to his credit, on a violin which was built in 2020 to his specifications by the Philadelphia luthier. I think that's what you call a violin builder, Luthier, Justin Hess, and he's commissioned a second one. So instead of playing a something from 1720, no, he's playing a current violin, although the bow he uses is a something from a long time ago. Then Yun Iwasaki is also in this group, and he's the concert master of the Nashville Symphony Orchestra, and before that was concert master at Oregon. James Ennis, Mr. Everything, founder of the Ennis Quartet, and the guy who has 2 Grammys and 10 or 11 Juno Awards to his name for his recordings. And then finally on the cello is Brant Taylor, and he's the cellist with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, formerly with the Everest Quartet. Smetana's story is, he's, known as the guy who blazed the way, they say, for people like Dvorak and Janáček. But when he reached about age 50, he started going deaf and hearing terrible noises and all of this stuff. And he'd eventually go crazy and die in an insane asylum in Prague. But anyway, around 1876, when the deafness really started setting in, he had to quit doing everything else he was doing, like conducting and whatsoever, and he composed 2 string quartets. This is one of them that you'll hear in this concert, and he entitles it. Let me get the title wrong. From My Life. It's his life story, put in a string quartet under tragic circumstances. After that, they will then do some Beethoven, another composer who ended up deaf and continued composing afterwards. They'll do his piano trio number 6 in E-flat major, opus 70, number 2. This will be Adam Neiman on piano, who was featured in a couple of pieces on Tuesday. He's the guy who's a professor at the Chicago College of Performing Arts at Roosevelt University and the CEO of Aeolian Classics. He's also a composer with symphonies and concertos and all that to his name. Tessa Lark is on the violin. She was the 2020 Grammy nominee in the Best Classical Instrumental Solo category. And she plays with a lot of major orchestras around the world. Why do I seem to focus on her playing? Well, she's an artist. As far as I know, she does not have a teaching position. She's just out there performing, which I think is great. And she has the distinction of having a bluegrass-inspired violin concerto composed for her by Michael Tork, called Sky, which is what earned Tessa a Grammy nomination, and Tork got a Pulitzer Prize finalist, a distinction for that. Then on the cello is Beyond Sang, who's the chairman in cello at the Butler School of Music at the University of Texas, Austin. Here's what you want to know. Well, here's what you want to know about this particular quartet, which speaks to the genius of Ludwig van Beethoven. This was composed in 1808. Okay. Now, in 1807, he wrote the Coriolan Overture and the Mass in C minor. And then the following winter, he started the 5th Symphony and finished it, started the 6th Symphony, was working on it all through the summer of 1808. I mean, this is all. And then he said, man, I got to take a break. This is too much. So he took a break in the fall of 1808 to compose 2 piano trios. And this is one of them that you'll get to hear. And my hat is off to Eric Bromberger again for the program notes on that particular concert. But these are the artists Adam Neiman, Tessa Lark, and Beyond Sang, who will be playing that Beethoven piano trio.